Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can see, I've got a review here of the Raffine fine art color pencils. Now, one of the first kind of color pencils that I reviewed back when it started, when it used to be called, when the Art Gear Guide was called Color Pencil Reviews, was the Marco Renoir color pencils. And I actually personally really back then I liked those pencils. I didn't test them on a lot of different papers and things like that because back then I was just getting started. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. I only tried them on on one different paper, actually, I think it was, and I can't even remember if I'd done any artwork with them. I don't think I did, but I liked them. They were soft. They were kind of like a soft pencil. They were very inexpensive at the time. I was able to get a 72 set. And if you've noticed on a lot of my reviews, if I can, I try to get hold of the full range of colour pencils. Whatever pencil I'm reviewing, I'll try to get hold of the full range, whether I've got to buy it myself or whether the company sends it to me. Because I think having the full range is the best way to review the product so that I can see the entire palette, show you guys the entire palette, and then if you want to get a smaller palette after that or a smaller set after that, then that's on you. When I done the Marco Renoir color pencil review, I got a lot of people saying you've got to do the Marco Raffine. They're much better pencil. A lot of people prefer them and stuff like that, but for some reason they just never really caught my eye. I always knew that one day I would get round to doing them, but no, Coda, lie down, son. Come over here. Good boy, lie down. I always knew I would get round to doing them one day, but back then they just didn't catch my eye, and it might have been because they always came in this cardboard set. There was no tins, and I thought having a 72 set of pencils and not having at least the option of having them in a tin was maybe the thing that put me off. I'm not too sure. So anyway, here we are now. We've got the Marco Raffine. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the most, I know my reviews are really detailed and quite in-depth, but I think this is probably one of the most in-depth reviews that I've ever done on these, on a colour pencil, because when I first started using these, I just couldn't get the grips with them. I tested them on lots of different papers, which I'll be able to show you here. I'd done 3 different versions of artwork. I just couldn't get the grips with them. Finally, the paper that I used on when I was doing the testing showed the pencil in a much better light. But I'll get into that in a second. So first things first, let's have a look at the actual pencil. So this is the 72 set. And they're relatively inexpensive. As always, the prices will be over on the written review of the Art Gear Guide. So if you want to know more about the prices and the various different sets that are available, because you can get I know you can get a 72 set in a like a tie roll, but I'll have all of those details over on the Art Gear Guide if you want to go across and take a look. The pencils themselves. So I think maybe this is another reason why I didn't really fall in love with these pencils right away, and it's a silly reason, but nevertheless. So it's a relatively slender pencil. The core is a 3.2 millimeter core, which is quite slim, and it's a hexagonal barrel, and the width of the barrel, I guess, is 7.2 millimeters. So quite a slim pencil, but it's a nice pencil. Holds well in the hand, well balanced, and I've got no issues with the weight of the pencil, the balance of the pencil, that type of thing. It does hold nice in the hand. All of the barrels have this silver paint on it, and then there is a 1/2-inch pigment identifier on the very end here. And with most color pencils, it doesn't line up terribly well with the actual pigment core, but nevertheless, you know, most color pencil artists do swatch. Along one side of one of the sides here of the barrel, we have Raffine, So obviously just letting us know that this is the Raffine pencil, not the Renoir. Then it says here as well, color 7100. After that, it says Marco with the logo here as well. So just to let us know that it's a Marco brand. And then right at the very end here, we have a number which obviously corresponds to the pigment. Now, there's no pigment name on the barrel anywhere, or pencils or anything like that. So that's something that you could either come up with yourself, try to come up with something, or just correspond with the pencils using the number when you do your swatch. The 72 colours that are available in this set are not bad, actually. It's quite a nice palette. But for me, you know me, guys. I like my greens because I like doing botanical work with colour pencils, and I just thought that too many of the greens were too similar. There wasn't enough olivey type greens in here. I just wasn't over enamored by the greens, but there is a nice range of greens, aqua colors, blues, reds. There's some nice greys down here at the bottom as well, some nice warm and cool greys, and then you've got two metallic type pencils here on the very end. Now, as you can see here on this swatch, so I've had to just put the number that corresponds to the pencil, and I messed that up whenever I've done it. So the cream color here that starts at 501, that's actually the white pencil. So all these numbers are kind of like one along, which threw me a little bit when I was trying to do the artwork, and then I realized what the mistake I'd done. But anyway, the swatch here is done on Clairefontaine paint on mixed media paper. So it's a relatively inexpensive paper, but it's a decent quality paper to do things like swatches on. But I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the pencil on this paper, and so I did come up with some artwork. Now, like I said to you, I did do three different types of artwork, and I did this apple. I did the apple originally on the Clairefontaine paint on paper, and I just wasn't getting to grips with it. I was going to do a tropical leaf, and then I stopped because I just wasn't. I didn't have the right greens to be able to pull that leaf out. So I stopped, and again, that was on the Clairefontaine paint on paper as well. So I wanted to redo the apple, only this time I did it on Strathmore Mixed Media Paper 400 series, and I got better results. The layering and the blending of the pigments and stuff like that worked better. I wouldn't say the Marco Raffine are the most pigmented pencils in the world, but they're not too bad, and you'll see that on this next test that I'm going to show you. Now, you will know that I don't subscribe to the oil or wax-based pencils. It's just something I personally stay away from, and what I'd rather do is just describe to you what the core of the pencil's like. So that's why I do this test. Now, this layer test here, as you can see here, I do 5 layers. The reason why I do 5 layers is because most people who use odorless mineral spirits, and I'm not one of them, you need to have at least 5 layers down before you start using the odorless mineral spirits, because the odorless mineral spirits breaks down the pigment, turns it into kind of like a painterly effect. If you don't have enough pigment down on your paper, you're not going to get the right effect. So that's why I do 5 layers as a general test. And as you can see here, they layer really well. Now, again, I done this test on different paper, and this paper, the pencil felt much better. And I did this on Strathmore 300 series Bristol Vellum. So slightly, it's really difficult because it's not really more toothier than the mixed media paper. They're similar, but there was just something about this vellum that just accepted the pencil just a little bit better, and it felt better. And I think the results were better on this paper as well. And I kind of wish now that I had done the artwork on the Bristol Vellum paper. I actually had to order the Strathmore 300 series paper and had to wait a day for it to come to do the test, because when I was doing all these different things, the Bristol vellum was one paper I'd run out of, and so I ordered it just to see, and like I say, I preferred this. So also, as you can see here, at the very end of this test, I've got one heavy application, and you can see there that the strength of the pigment on the heavy applications is fine. I don't have any issues with it, but of course, most colour pencil artists don't work like that. On the fifth layer, the pigment strength is it's reasonable as well. You can see it better here on this blue. I'll have a close-up image come up on the screen here, but on the fourth layer, this blue has a kind of scratchy appearance. Now, that's not... The pencils... The Marco Raffine pencil is a little bit crumbly, but not drastically crumbly. And so, this scratchiness, you can see the lines here on this, but this scratchiness appeared a few times when I was doing the artwork on the 3 separate occasions that I did it. And I'm not 100% sure whether it's got something to do with maybe grit in the actual core of the pencils. I'm not too sure. It didn't happen on all of the pencils, but just on a few of them. But you can see here what I'm talking about on this blue. You can see kind of like the lines, and I didn't really know how to rectify that. Anyway, over to the blending. You can see here, now that when I do these blending tests, I am building up layers and stuff like that. This isn't just like, one heavy application of the colour and just hope that the colours blend. You can see here with the blue and yellow, I've got a really nice green, so they've blended really nicely. Again here with the yellow and red, it's created a really nice clear orange. And then down here with the red and blue, it's created a nice purple. So in terms of the blending, the pigment blends really nicely together. I had no issues at all with that, either on this test or when I was doing the artwork. So next up, I have the odorless mineral spirits. Now, if you watch my last review with the Lyra Graduate, I had said that from now on this year, I will be doing more tests with odorless mineral spirits to show the artists who use odorless mineral spirits how the pigments are going to react. So I have just like a very simple sphere here that I've done using 4 different colours. I've got the numbers of the colours down here at the bottom. The 570 there is the black, so on the darker tones here. And all I'm going to do is just use the Zesta odorless mineral spirits that I have to blend the pigment together. Now, I have got quite a few layers on here, so hopefully I'm hoping that the mineral spirits, to be quite honest with you, I'm not 100% sure why I don't use this method whenever I'm blending pencils. I personally used to. I don't know whether I thought maybe in my head that it was taken away from the fact that I was using pencils. If I wanted to use paint, I would use paint. I really don't know, but I personally prefer using blending pencils, and one pencil in particular, which was the Caran d'Ache blending sticks, or a lighter tone of the whatever colours I'm using here, like a white pencil or something like that. But you can see here that the odorless mineral spirits has worked really quite well on the pigment here. And of course, if you were working on this, once you use the odorless mineral spirits, it breaks down the pigments and stuff like that, and then it kind of almost reinvigorates the tooth of the paper, which then allows you to keep reapplying more and more layers. I think that's one of the beauties of odorless mineral spirits, in that it gives the artist the ability to continue layering and creating the depth of color that they want to create. So the next test, and kind of like the last test here that I have, is on some black paper. Now you can see here with the yellow and the green, they're really quite translucent. In other words, you can still see the black pigment of the paper from underneath the pigments. The red and the blue here are a little bit more opaque, but there is still a little. They're not the most opaque pencils that I've used. They're certainly not as opaque as the Marco Renoir pencil. So if that's the type of pigment that you enjoy using, a little bit more translucent, then the Marco Raffine would be a good brand to go for. And the white there, I was actually quite surprised at how opaque the white was, given how these other four pigments laid down here on the black paper. So as always, I will have these images over on the written review of the Art Gear Guide, where you can click on the image, enlarge it, and inspect these images in more detail in your own time without having to look at a video and stuff like that. And obviously, sometimes video can kind of distort how an image might look. So that's why I always put these images over on the written review so that you can click on them, enlarge them, and inspect them in much more detail. So that's my review there of the Marco Raffine Fine Art Colour Pencils. Now, I enjoyed using them much more than what I had expected to do. Whenever I first found out about them, really kind of like shied away from reviewing them, but eventually got around to reviewing them, and I enjoyed them a lot more than what I was expecting to. For me personally, and I know the Marco Renoir colour pencils have breakage issues, but they're going to with having a softer core. The Marco Raffine definitely have a much harder core than the Renoir. I just think that if you're the type of artist that likes Prismacolor pencils, like that softness of a core, I think the Marco Renoir would be a better pencil for you to go for. And plus also the Marco Renoir have a set of 100 as well, so there is that. So they've got a little bit more range to choose from. I think if you are the type of artist who prefers a much harder core, like the Polychromos or something like that, then the Marco Raffine might be a better pencil for you to go for. And as you can see there on the black paper as well, if you enjoy using darker tone paper, it is a much more translucent pigment than the Marco Renoir. The Marco Renoir is definitely much more opaque and thick and kind of like silky smooth than what the Raffine is. I think the Raffine, however, does layer much better and does blend a little bit better than the Marco Renoir because of the obvious reasons, with it being a slightly harder core. It takes the layers a little bit better than the Renoir because of the softness of the Renoir core. You do get that bloom build-up or that tackiness, that stickiness that you can create sometimes on a softer core whenever you're building up lots and lots of layers. So I know a lot of people really like this pencil, the Marco Raffine. I think it's all down to personal preference. I've highlighted all the differences between the two brands, between the two models. They're both from the same company. So the Marco Renoir and the Marco Raffine, I've highlighted both the differences. If I can find my Marco Renoir pencils, I will do a proper comparison video, but they're way at the bottom of all my old pencils. And so I'll have to hook them out and take a better look at them. Maybe do a comparison video, which might be beneficial. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I'm so sorry that the reviews have been a little bit slow. I have not been very well at all, but I'm starting to get back on top of things and shake myself out of this lull that I've got myself into. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this review. I look forward to hearing from you. If you've used the Marco Raffine or the Marco Renoir or both of them, please leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of them. If there's anything I've missed and you perhaps want to ask a question about them, please, by all means, again, leave a question down below in the comments section. Or if you feel more comfortable, just send me an email at theartgearguide@gmail.com. The email address will also be down below as well, just in case you want to email me. I have no problems either way, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.